Fearless cowboys risk everything to defeat alien threats. The movie begins with Jake, a disoriented man, waking up in the wilderness. He is alarmed to find an iron strapped to his wrist and realizes he's injured. As he regains consciousness, 3 cowboys surround him, pointing guns at his head and forcing him to follow them. However, Jake skillfully defends himself and manages to kill all 3 cowboys. He seizes their guns, ammunition, and clothes, disguising himself as one of them. He then leaves with one of their horses. Upon reaching the town, Jake discovers an empty house and seeks refuge. Once there, he cleans himself up and attempts to tend to his bleeding wound. Suddenly, the house owner, Meacham, whom Jake has unknowingly trespassed upon, presses a gun against his neck. He disarms Jake, taking away his stolen gun, and demands that he face him. Curious about Jake's wound, Meacham questions whether he is a criminal or a victim. He also asks for Jake's name, but Jake confesses that he only knows English and nothing else, as he has no memories. Jake inquires whether the house belongs to him. Meacham responds that it is his place 6 days a week, as the 7th day belongs to the Almighty. He observes his surroundings and realizes that the house resembles a church. After tending to Jake's wound, which is very unusual as it is neither a stab nor a gunshot, the man informs him that the town was once a mining town, but people shifted jobs when no gold was found. As they talk, a disturbance arises outside the house. Percy, the son of a cattle owner, is causing trouble, and the pub owner, Doc, tries to stop it. He tells Percy that it is bad enough that he takes free drinks. Percy reminds him that his father's cattle keep the town alive. Percy challenges Doc to face him, attempting to shoot him after snatching his eyeglasses. Meacham steps in, defending Doc and urging Percy to let it go. However, Percy continues to make a scene, asking everyone to contribute money for Doc. When he demands money from Jake, he refuses, which leads to a confrontation. In the scuffle, Jake hits Percy, who accidentally shoots the deputy, resulting in his arrest by the sheriff. Sheriff says he has to be shifted to federal jail for shooting at deputy. The sheriff discovers a wanted poster with Jake's name and picture, raising suspicions about him. At the local bar, the patrons mock Doc, who continues working hard despite the ridicule. Doc tells his wife that he is not a respected man in the town, but she still supports him by telling him he has nothing to prove and she will always love him. Jake enters the bar and orders whiskey. It is given to him for free as a gesture of gratitude for standing up to Percy earlier. Ella, a woman at the bar, converses with Jake, who refuses to talk to her. She asks if he truly remembers nothing, to which he remains silent, showing affirmation. The sheriff, accompanied by a group of men, comes to the bar and attempts to arrest Jake but faces resistance until Ella hits Jake with a chair, knocking him out and triggering a flashback where he sees a woman laying on the ground. Jake regains consciousness in a jail cell. Meanwhile, a grenade hits the cattle in the far plains, and Dollar Hyde, Percy's father, brutally punishes the caretakers. He receives news of Percy's arrest and is informed about the presence of Jake in town. Jake questions the sheriff about the charges against him as he remembers nothing. The sheriff tells him about his crimes, which include arson, assault, hijacking, and the murder of a prostitute named Alice Wills. He shows Jake a picture of the woman and refuses to believe he killed her. Jake is then transferred to a carriage with Percy. Elle approaches Jake, expressing her desire to know where he came from, but he admits he doesn't know. As they prepare to leave, Dollar Hyde arrives, demanding the release of Percy and Jake. The sheriff refuses, but before any conflict arises, they witness a large group approaching the town. Suddenly, spaceship-like aircraft begins bombing the area and abducting the town's men. In this critical moment, the iron strap to Jake's wrist transforms into a functioning device with enough power to blast open the carriage door they are tied in. The alien spaceships abduct Percy, the sheriff, Doc's wife, and other locals. Using his new device, Jake manages to hit one of the spaceships. Jake and Dollar Hyde approach the spaceship, but it's empty. They hear a scream and discover strange creatures' footprints, deciding to follow them in the morning to have any lead on the abducted people. Dollar Hyde insists on joining Jake, believing his weapon can help, but Jake refuses and sets off alone the next day. Ella secretly tries to follow him but gets scarred. She reveals that she believes Jake can help her find her abducted people, but Jake tells her to stay away and storms off. The townspeople, including the sheriff's grandson Emmett and Doc, gather to search for their missing loved ones. They believe that since the aliens abducted them instead of simply bombing the area, there may be a chance to rescue them. Jake arrives at a solitary house in the middle of nowhere, triggering another flashback of his past with Alice and a devastating alien attack that took her away. Jake reunites with the group, and they collectively decide to find their missing kin. However, it starts to rain, and the rain washes away the tracks left by the aliens. They come across a massive abandoned ship-like aircraft far away from water bodies. Seeking shelter from the rain, they enter the dilapidated vessel, only to find that rain leaks inside. Some suggest involving the army, but Dollarhide insists they can't afford delays. He notices Emmett's interest in his knife and gives it to him, instructing him to take care of it. Meacham teaches Doc how to shoot, preparing him for potential threats. As Jake washes his stitches, Elle approaches him and takes a picture of Alice, asking about her identity. Jake cryptically replies that she is the only one who knows who he is. Elle encourages him to try harder to remember his own identity. Suddenly, his iron device starts beeping, indicating the presence of aliens nearby. On the other hand, frustration builds among the men, who feel they aren't being paid enough to search for Dollarhide's son across the country, when suddenly an alien attack occurs, claiming several lives. The alien targets Emmett, but Meacham shoots it, injuring himself to the point beyond return. In his final moments, Meacham tells Jake that his past doesn't matter. What's important is who he is now. He urges Jake to go and rescue their abducted people. They bury Meacham the next morning and find tracks left by the alien heading north. They follow the tracks. Dollarhide shares a story with Emmett about a mission he went on with his father when he was Emmett's age, where he had to kill a man to spare him from a slow, agonizing death. He advises Emmett to be courageous and take steps to protect their people. He is harsh, but he means well to the child. The group follows the alien tracks and encounters many men who initially stop them from robbing them but recognize Jake as their former leader. Recognizing Jake, they ask if he has a new gang now. However, Jake tells them to be quiet and gives himself time to recollect his memories. Jake demands to know how many men are in the gang, and they inform him there are about 30. He instructs them to take him to their camp, and they begin their journey. Upon reaching the camp, Jake commands the boys to prepare for a mission. However, the new gang leader, Ed, refuses to comply, taunting Jake for returning and pretending nothing happened. Ed questions if Elle is the prostitute Jake left the gang for. Jake warns him to watch his words, but Ed retaliates by threatening to shoot Ella if Jake makes any sudden moves. The gang beats Jake, demanding to know the whereabouts of their stolen gold. Despite repeating that he can't remember anything, Ed orders Ella to be shot. Jake's iron device activates then, and he attacks one of his gang members. He commands everyone to mount their horses and flee, but Ed orders his gang to pursue them. Suddenly, the aliens appear, launching an attack and abducting men from both sides. One of the alien spaceships captures Ella, prompting Jake to mount on the same spaceship. He manages to damage the spaceship, causing it to crash. Jake and Ella both fall into the water. As they emerge from the water, an alien strikes Ella before Jake reacts. Jake tends to Ella's wound and carries her back to Doc. Along the way, Ella asks if Jake loves Alice, to which he replies that he must have, as his only desire is to find her. Unfortunately, when they reach Doc, Ella succumbs to her injuries. Before they can mourn her loss, they are surrounded by a large group of people disconnected from civilization. These people, known as the Black Knives, speak a different language and blame the white people for bringing the monsters who took their people. Despite their attempts to reason with the Black Knives and explain that they, too, have lost loved ones to the aliens, their pleas are ignored. During the conflict, Ella miraculously emerges from the fire, stunning everyone. She apologizes for not revealing that she is an alien from another place. She was uncertain if she could heal her human body or wake up again within it. The tribal people view Ella as magical and find solace in her presence. Ella communicates with them effortlessly as she speaks their language. She reveals that the aliens are after gold, which is just as rare to them as it is to humans. The aliens are merely scouts, abducting people to instill fear in others. Ella came to Earth to ensure it did not meet the same fate as her planet. All the people on her planet were killed, and there were no survivors. The tribal people pledged their allegiance to Ella, vowing to follow her guidance. Ella explains that Jake knows the alien's hiding place but has lost his memory. The tribal people perform a ritual on Jake, successfully triggering his memories. Jake remembers his loving life with Alice and the strange place where the aliens experimented, turning humans into sand. The aliens had removed the iron device from Jake, saving his life. He recalls his escape and now knows the location of their secret hideout. Jake leads the tribal people to the aliens' secret hideout. Ella tells them that the aliens don't see well in daylight, so they remain in the dark. The tribal leader says it is better to attack from the high ground rather than go underground, as Jake suggests, but Dollarhide tells him they have spaceships. Nothing is high ground compared to that. Jake suddenly leaves for his old gang and tells them that aliens will wipe them out anyway, so they can either have a vacation for a few days or follow him for one last time. Ed questions why they would follow him, and he tells him that he will make them rich for the same reason they always have followed him. On the other hand, Dollarhide and the tribal leader are having difficulties as both want to lead. Dollarhide's Indian man, Nat, tells the tribal leader that Dollarhide is a great warrior who despises battle but never runs from it, and saves him as a child and gave him the purpose of life. And the tribal leader questions that if he is so great, why doesn't he have men who want to fight with him? Suddenly Jake comes with over 30 men from his gang, ready to fight. The tribal people perform a ritual for good luck before the battle, and their leader praises Nat, acknowledging him as a skilled Apache. They dance around the fire and form a bond amidst the chaos. The following day, they prepare for the battle. The tribal people position themselves on the mountaintops while Jake and his gang throw bombs into the alien spaceship landing area at their headquarters. As the bombs explode, aliens start pouring out. Jake declares he will go inside to rescue the captive people while the others outside fight off the aliens. The aliens begin killing the captives, but Jake and Ella manage to enter the facility. Doc attends to the wounded, and an alien attacks Dollarhide, but Nat sacrifices himself by jumping in front of the attack. Doc shoots the alien, and Nat shares his dream of going into battle with Dollarhide, who reveals his dream of having a son like Nat. Nat's dying wish is for Dollarhide to save Percy. With renewed determination, they march forward, fighting the aliens more fiercely. Jake and Ella witness the captive people being mesmerized by a hypnotic light inside the facility. Ella warns Jake not to look at the light and shoots it, snapping everyone out of their trance. Ella begins freeing the captives while Jake holds off the advancing aliens. They successfully rescue all the people. Meanwhile, Emmett, who had been monitoring the scene from the outskirts, finds himself cornered by an alien. Using his knife, he fends off the alien and saves himself. Instead of leaving, Ella ventures further into the facility, with Jake following her. She reveals her plan to destroy the entire place and suggests that Jake can use his iron machine to assist. Jake insists that he can't control it, but Ella assures him that he can if he focuses his mind. Still unsure, Jake overthinks the situation, so Ella kisses him, causing the machine to fall off. They take the machine to the core, where Ella interfaces with the operating system, bidding farewell to Jake. Unable to follow her, Jake must confront the incoming aliens and defend himself. During the chaos, Jake spots a peculiar-looking chair, and suddenly, an alien forces him onto it, imprisoning and torturing him. Just as the alien is about to harm him, Dollarhide arrives and shoots at the alien. Jake breaks free and joins in the fight, shooting at the alien as well. The aliens initiate their headquarters self-destructs, transforming it into a rocket aimed at the sky. However, Ella reaches the main part of the spaceship in time and sacrifices herself, causing the entire ship to crash and explode. The people reunite with their families, and the town is revitalized. They collect gold from the aliens' mine and use it for the town's development, including building railways and repairing damaged houses. Jake decides to leave the town, jokingly referring to himself as a wanted man.